Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Mauri. In this one we will learn about the 3 golden rules of the opening. So let's get started. Before we get to the golden rules, we should know that chess has 3 parts or stages. First comes the opening, then comes the middle game, and last is the end game. So here is an example of an opening position. Basically we're just early in the game. And here we have an example of a middle game position that's a little bit later in the game. Both sides have now castled, white's rooks are connected, we're in the middle game. And then last is the end game, which is characterized by the fact that there are few pieces left on the board. And now the golden rules. The 3 golden rules are advice on how to play the opening. Follow them and you're more likely to get a good game. The rules are: number 1, control the center, number 2, bring out your pieces, and number 3, castle to get your king safe. Control the center. This is the center shown in green. Those 4 squares, d4, d5, e4, and e5 are the center. This is an important part of the chessboard that you should fight for. Fight for the center with pawns and pieces. Push your center pawns 2 squares forward when possible. This will fight for the center. Doing this will also help your bishops to get out. Pushing your king's pawn forward is a good idea. Pushing your queen's pawn forward is also a good idea. This is how the champions usually start their games. Bring out your pieces is the second golden rule. Bring your knights and bishops into the battle as soon as possible. And knights and bishops are called the minor pieces. So get your minor pieces into the game as quickly as you can. And the third golden rule, castle to get your king safe. Castling is a special move where you can move your king and a rook on the same move. This is something we learned in a previous video. Castle to get your king to safety and to get the rook into the game. And now let's have a look at all of this on a chessboard. So here we have highlighted the center, and let's see how we should start the game. So e4 would be a great way to start the game. Already controlling the d5 square with this pawn on e4, and also letting this bishop on f1 out. So what black should do, there's no one correct move, but a really good move is e5, just simply doing the same as white here. What you shouldn't do is a move like this. So trying to develop your rook too early is not the right strategy. Let's see what might happen if black tries to do that. So what we do as white, we just push our center pawns like this and build a beautiful pawn wall in the center. Look at all these squares that these 2 pawns are controlling, 4 squares, and they're all on black's side. If you try to develop your rook like this as black, white will now take this rook. So he'll go like this, and even though you get the bishop, it is white who now gains material. White gets a rook for a bishop. That's getting 5 points for 3 and thus gaining 2 points. So this is good for white, bad for black. So let's see another good way to start the game. d4, already controlling the e5 square with his pawn on d4, and also letting the bishop on c1 out. So now he can go out on the next move. And what black should do is again just to do the same. This is a really good move for black. And another good move for black is to move this knight to f6. So now this knight is already looking at 2 central squares, e4 and d5. So those are the 2 best moves and the 2 most popular moves for black against d4. A mistake would be for white to start the game with h4, so don't do that. Good move for black here would be to play d5. Look at this bishop on c8, he's already controlling the h3 square. And just like we saw before, if you try to develop the rook too early, this is what's going to happen. And now it's black who gains. Black got a rook for a bishop. Black gained 2 points. So this would be the wrong way to start the game. All right, so let's see a really good method for white. Now white's gonna do all the right things, and black isn't gonna play very well, but he's gonna do it to show us what we should do as white when given the chance. So start by pushing those center pawns. Push both of them if you can. Black doesn't want to take because then he loses his knights. And now black's just gonna make some fairly random moves, but it's also that we can see what to do as whites when given the chance. So knight f3, get your knights and bishops out. So again, we're getting our knights and bishops out, and this is called building a house. So we built this beautiful green house here. So whenever you get the chance, put your pieces to those maximum squares there. So those are your best squares. When you play against somebody who plays a little bit better than black has done here, you probably won't be able to do this, but maybe you will be able to build part of that house. So building part of it is better than to not build it at all. So go like this, and then you can castle like this. So also look at how many squares in the center white is controlling. Look at all these white pieces and how much they're controlling the center. All right, and let's see what can happen if you don't follow the golden rules. If you push the wrong pawns, then bad things can happen very quickly. So if you go f3, for example, that's already weakening your king, so that's not really a good strategy. So what black can do is he can push a center pawn like he should. So like this or like that. And so let's see what might happen here. So again, if you don't know which pawns to push, things can escalate very quickly and you can lose very quickly. In fact, now black can checkmate after only 2 moves from the starting position. This is the fastest possible checkmate, and it's only 2 moves, and it's called fool's mate because white played the basically worst possible moves that he could have. Another way this could have happened is if you play f4, which is actually sometimes played by strong players, but it's not what we recommend. We recommend pushing the king's pawn and the queen's pawn. So let's see what might happen if you go f4, e6. If you now go g4, the exact same thing happens. Checkmate again in only 2 moves. So this is the fastest possible checkmate. For white to do it takes actually 1 more move, it takes 3 moves. So e4, f6 is a bad move. It's the wrong pawn, already weakening the king. d4, and now g5 is the worst move in the position because now white's 3rd move is queen h5 checkmate. So this is what happens, and I've seen this many times, not necessarily exactly like this, but what I've seen many times is beginners pushing the wrong pawns and then getting checkmated quickly. So don't push the f, g, and h pawns very early in the game. That can often lead to disaster like we see here. All right, but let's go over the golden rules one more time, which we have here. Let's just go back to the golden rules. Oh yeah, here they are. So control the center, bring out your pieces, starting with knights and bishops, and castle to get your king safe. So follow these rules and you're much more likely to get a good position later in the game. But that was my lesson about the golden rules. Hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.